Good morning from New York. And I'd like to give thanks to Linux, YouTube, and Nestle. And there's a new concoction I've come up with here that Nestle helps out. Instant coffee and baking cocoa, you know, just straight up with no sugar, and sweetening to taste with Nestle. It is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Really, really. It's not too sweet. It's just the way I want it. You see, play with it. Find your flavor. Mocha Frappuccino lovers. Mm-mm. Yeah. And today's subject, intermind communication, or IMC, um, profession, practice, training, and why. So, actually, as a profession, if you want to take it up as a profession, it's its own route, and I'll include basically who might best take that up. Well, professions related, obviously, but elders, um, as I've said before, it's the grandparents in our society that can be at play with the kids. And it's their role is more of a spiritual role, not as much involved in the drama service of the kid. And everything's about the kid, you and the others and whoever. Just like societies are all around trade, built on it. Civilizations depend on trade. uh, Respect for all trading partners. So, of course, thank you for the people, the growers out there who made it possible uh, for my drink today, clothing today, my existence. You could never stop saying thank you once you begin. That's the trouble there. It just goes on and on. There's even jokes about that. Where the actor gets up and picks up a trophy, and they don't want them to feel weird. So they go and thanks to and thanks to and thanks to. And that's really true, but if they go on and on, it reaches a point of comedy. So I'm not, you can use that for a laugh, but that's creative. Comedians are very creative. Artists are very creative. Those folks are good candidates picking this up as a profession. And the elders in a tribe or in a family, the grandparent age folks, they it's time for in India they call it sannyas. It's time for spiritual deep introspection, and that's kind of should be their job. And just because it's a profession doesn't mean you get rich off of it. Um, but you need to make enough to survive as well. You know, I don't get much into religion, but it's occasionally they have some things to say. And one is that don't muzzle the ox that treads the grain. You know, yeah, or grinds the grain. I forget. But yeah, you got to survive. I could use a little more money, but I have not monetized this thing. Um, but you know, that's a strong sense of calling that I have. You know, I think other people should take it up. You have a job when you get to be. You know, it's not over. It's not time to run away to Florida, the Bahamas, or something. You know, that can be okay, but you know, you still have your job. You know, you can have a pleasant time, but you know, you still need to do your job, and your job is a spiritual one. You move from being grandparents of your own kids to being grandparents of all the kids in the world. That's your spiritual leap. And you need to understand uh, how to connect. You know, see a lot of people just dancing around, you know, it's mystery. Ooh, mystery. That doesn't really get you anywhere. You know, mystery is great. It fuels science. But, you know, just going, oh, and I didn't understand this and it happened to me, you know. That's not real spirituality. Real spirituality involves internal change, which I've talked about several times. The practice of inner mind communication, personal level, um, its philosophy reaches out in many areas, but and especially into politics. But it's something that something that is all about love, and it's a different angle. Like you have your DOs and your MDs and you know, this and that, but they're basically kind of equivalent. I see this profession equivalent basis psychology, psychologists. Yeah. A spiritualist, not a psychologist, a doctor of the soul. You can be both. um, but yeah, there can this can be professional from many different perspectives. Um, but it's its own training and its own approach, which is a little different, and we'll maybe talk about the differences. One difference is that it doesn't aim at traumas. Traumas might be resolved. In fact, they will be. Um, but it doesn't take that as an aim, and it doesn't take a sickness model. Just telling you you're sick. Well, you're sick. You're a sick mind. Let me tell you, you know, you're sick mind. Let me help you. It's not like that. It's more, I think, more respect. Anyway, and it's a you know, mysticism professionalized. Um, and it involves communication, of course. The brain communicates. It's all about what goes on in your brain, and possibly more, but you don't speculate. You say that you know things like, yeah, I left my body, or this spirit or that told me this thing that I couldn't know. It's not about that. That sort of thing might happen. You might interpret it that way, but that's to be ignored. I mean, that's one thing that the Buddhists know about. It's not about that. Not about one ridiculous thing that was mentioned in the Buddhism world. It's a person that was seeking to have the paranormal ability to what was it, to see, like with their eyes, through their forehead or something like that. To have another root for eyesight. And said, no, that's you got perfectly good eyes. Yeah, there's some weird things that go on in the name of so-called spirituality. Spirituality has to aim at virtues, goodness, truth, art, and the development of proper trust, faith, all right, and communications between these perspectives. And emotional intelligence is important in a related field, but it's not the same. But it's overlaps. You'll find a lot of overlapping things when you hear this, but don't push it to the side. And it would, if you're working on in an organization, it would have its own committee. Yeah. Its own committee. I remember writing and speaking not being considered worthy of its own committee in a political party government. Really? So I, as a non-professional speaker, should be the head of the committee that includes that as a subcommittee. I mean, under communications, yeah, yeah. They need their own voice, and their own the equal voice to the larger body. And you want to get somebody elected, they need to know how to speak, and they need to know how to write. Hopefully, and yeah, you would think that professional writers and spokespeople would be ones on that committee, and the heads of that committee, and going directly to the larger body. Yeah, well, that was just a beef I had. This I thought was incredibly silly and disrespectful of those two professions. You know, and look at what we get from politicians sometimes. Oh God, then you have your greats. They come along rarely. Um, I shouldn't say bad. There's a good amount of them. Not enough though. Anyway, I'm trailing off like I do. It's just this stuff connects to so many things. It's easy for a non-professional speaker like myself to get off the tangents. Let me try to rein it in here. As a profession, it's its own profession. It deals with the communication um, between your dramatic self and your three basic awarenesses from the infant before you had a self concept. That was the dominant thing. And your communications that are within your mind but connect socially. That's the three forms of empathy I talked about. So there's actually 6 practices, three that are, non-ego, non-self, doesn't provide the boundaries that give you the illusion of self. Yeah. It's kind of like, that reminds me a little bit. And yeah, no, it's a little edge of tangent, so I'll kill that. Interesting. It really was. But yeah. How do you practice this? Okay. I've talked about who might be candidates to do it professionally. But everyone can do it and should if they're capable. See your professionals and make sure that this would be okay for you. But yeah, it's like exercise, Not one, not, it might not be the exercise that suits it, that's best for you, or yeah. But actually, as its own profession, it takes you on a particular journey. And yes, there's training involved. The practice and the training are, very related. Um, the practitioner, um, and if you're not doing it for money, then it don't matter. Whether you call yourself a professional, you should be very professional in what you do. Uh, and it is its own profession. It stands on its own. People that haven't practiced it shouldn't be teaching it. Don't take people, don't try to take people where you haven't been. So don't run off but you can help. You can co-counsel. You can talk to people. You can have someone sit for you if you need that comfort. That is comforting, but that can be problematic too. And one of the benefits of this approach over the illness approach, and and well, and the helper approach as well, is that it's a practice you can do like yoga or whatever on your own. That's very important. There's some things that you probably shouldn't share with anybody. Just because of the prejudices and the craziness in society itself. All right? So it's something you can do on your own when you're strong enough and when you're well trained. There may be a point at which you would need some assistance, and the right friend can be helpful if someone hasn't been through the process. Yeah, they really can't help you that much. But yeah, to give you an example, I mean, if you're going deep, because this takes you deep into your feelings. If you're going deep into your feelings and your drama and dealing with all that, someone's disinterested breathing can make you angry. Trust me. So, and some people might do if they have rage problems. Getting, a different kind of professional to help you with that. It's not a disease model. It does help with disease. It makes you healthier. Um, and it can get as close to cure as as you can in some ways on occasion for some people. In that case, maybe you need a dual hat of professions. But yeah, you train people, and you start from the point, and in your own practice, you got to understand the importance of the creative self, the artist within you. That artist is the part of you that in the Vedas is called the watcher, but I call it the brain. But anyway, yeah, it's your imagination. It's your power of imagination, and it's in sit up above your drama, which is existent in a timeline, which is the story of your life. But it can sit above. It can create stories for you, and which you are involved, like a guided meditation. You can do that for yourself in your own personal practice. And training, that's the first, well, in any case, that's usually where you begin. People are different, but that's usually the best place to begin. And if you're helping somebody, that's where you begin with a kind of guided meditation approach, but you're communicating with the person. You're not taking them to the beach because you want to go there. It's all dependent on them. What are you feeling right now? What are you thinking about? What comforts you? And get them to, and they're already being their own artist. Agree. And then if you're good, you take them on a bit of a journey there. I've done that a number of times. It can actually help some schizophrenics themselves out of out of a intense problem they might be having. It's like, yeah, interrupting a meeting or whatever like that. There's a way of doing that without their even knowing. If you're just creating comfort situations, that can work. Um, and it can work. And I'm not saying that this is a treatment for schizophrenia. It 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 can help. It can help them. But the thing is that they need other professions, other disease model um, approach. Um, so yeah, it should be wearing another hat. You can do this in kind of tangent, in cooperation with another. It'd be have two professions together, certainly. But yeah, you have a serious disease. It's like exercise. You have a serious problem. You got to be very careful what kind of exercises you do, and it's the same thing. Um, you'll be amazed how this approach alone can reach a heart and help them. You want to, in the training, get them to understand that this is a part of it. They can do this for themselves, and that how they imagine themselves in a more comfortable situation is important information for them to have. And it helps them to play along and experience something vicariously. Yeah. So you're feeling it more directly when a guided meditation, you're feeling the thing directly as as someone who's receiving that, either from your own self. Um, and there's a vicarious appreciation on the other side, on the artist's side. Uh, and very powerful. But it's a first step. You get them to understand that, and that actually the artist in them is playing all the roles, because the self in this communication is you as you imagine yourself to be, and that can change. It's also the others in your mind, that you have a compassionate exchange with. It's also the mature self in you that's subjective and thoughtful and not completely, not as impacted with the drama that you're going through, and that your inner counseling. And but all of these roles are created by your own imagination, by your artist. All of them are created by that. And in practice, a person should know this and understand this. If they can't, then that's, some of the say if they can't. And at some point you can see, oh, you might need to see someone in the field of psychology, psychiatry. They can't do this. That might be the indication of something that needs to be approached from a disease model that goes directly to in depth with certain diseases. But you go wild. Do I have the disease? You can get checked out if you want. Most people can do this without a problem, but it's still powerful, and you might need to have several trainings before do it yourself and keep doing it. But the more you do it, the less you need to. And that's important to know. But yeah, it's still it's after a while it's lighter, and it's just maintenance. You still got to do maintenance on your car, even though it's healthy at the moment. In that sense, you keep doing it, but and there's always more to learn. So for that reason, and for personal growth, yeah, for that reason, you keep doing it. The personal growth aspect, by the way, is the development of the empathies. Yes, I made that word up. Forms of empathy. And this is what puts you in touch with your virtues: objectivity, truth, compassion, goodness, creativity, art, and the trust that these things create, help to create, and the power of trust, the ability to trust. A person's ability to trust says a lot about their. If you're really wrapped up in a drama of heavy trauma and so on, ACEs or whatever, toxic helplessness problems. At that time, you had no ego. Oh, don't get blown away when you have experiences like, oh, I've transcended myself. Yeah, yeah. You imagined who you are. That would be a level of self-transcendence. Love is self-transcendent. Um, going into the three practices that put you in touch with your infant mind, your infant self. That's self-transcendent. That's ego. Self concept transcendence. Yeah, let's put it that way. And so didn't make a big deal out. The big deal is the virtue, and are you acting virtuously, and are you having a fulfilling life? This is it. And are you helping other people? Do you have a deep sense of thanks? Are you expanding your creativity, your compassion, your objectivity? Now, you don't want to, religion like beats you over the head. Right? You have to be this way. And, oh, what terrible you are if you can't be more objective, or you don't have these virtues. No, there are reasons that people don't. Could be a tumor in the brain. No judgment. Judgment and punishment are a real problem. Stay away from it. But that doesn't mean you can't make a judgment, decision, have an understanding. Uh, but judge this to be this or that. But as far as blaming people, and the fact that you might get angry in this, of course, occasion doesn't make it bad. It's just fun because it's kind of self-defense. Might have a touch of fear. This is all, as long as you're comfortable enough that you're aware that you're afraid, you're angry, and you have control over it, you're good. If you don't, maybe a disease, maybe a lighter effort. These practices, can you do too much of it? Yeah, it's like exercise. You don't want to live in your brain, in your reflection all the time, So you got to engage in life, right? So, and you can take the philosophy that comes from this and apply it in life, and you can apply it to politics, even politics. Because I would want to vote for a politician that's virtuous, and not someone who brags about hurting people in any way, incites hatred or great fear of other people. That's don't vote for people, please. Otherwise, it's you're up to your opinion and your priorities, but don't vote for somebody like that. So yeah, this philosophy goes over into politics. You need to consider those things. They're going to be representing you. Have some love for yourself. Don't be represented by someone who doesn't have those virtues, but at the same time, don't condemn them, make fun of them. Why? They need help. They need help. Yeah, that's it. They need help. Like with Trump, he needs help. I mean, obviously, he's really hurting. He's spiritually ill, and he needs help. He could use someone helping him with IMC, definitely. Other professions might want to jump in on that as well. Yeah, but you still love him. Love the guy. Love everybody. Yeah, but recognize that some people, for their own good and yours, don't need to be leading things. Okay, not much into leaders anyway. Leaders are the people good leaders help everybody to cooperate and recognize a lot of talents and try to bring those out in people. And a good leader also helps other people learn how to lead. That's their inclination. Everybody's a leader at some time. Teach everybody how to. Maybe they're just a father or a mother at home. You're leading. You're a leader for your children. You're a leader and an example walking down the street. Walk down the street and glare angrily at people or something. You're an example. You have to lead with how you behave, right? Yeah. Need a haircut. Anyway, what this is just non-professional production. Hope you can appreciate the limitations of that. Yeah, so I've talked about how you train and how you begin your practice. Start off with a very loving artist and create experiences for yourself. But keeping in mind the experience on that day or that time of your dramatic self, the kid. So it's the artist in you communicating with the part of you that's most impacted by the drama. If you find yourself listening to trouble listening to someone else because you're thinking and thinking, going over, you're lost in your own drama. You might want to do some things that are healing on the nonverbal level. You do things that help you with your focus and that help you. Well, at this point, I need to tie it together. All of these approaches are about helping you to feel your drama from a safe distance and from an encouraging and with encouragement to grow and to be the hero of love in your story. That's coming from your artist. Yeah. The director, the counselor in you loves you in an objective way. And you speak back and forth in this practice. Seeing yourself as about 6 years old. Talking to the mature you, the more objective you, and you just talk back and forth, have a dialogue. It's not about past things, it's about the present. You might talk about past things, but you're not reliving. You're not immersing yourself in them or reacting to to them. You're just, it's all feeling related. But how you feeling right now, how you feel about the future, um, and guiding yourself um, in terms of coping with how you're feeling right now and how to move forward. This is very similar. Like I said, there's overlap. This is very similar to talk therapy. Many of the forms of talk therapy. Um, you doing this yourself, okay? And training is about helping the person to do it for themselves, so it's empowering. It's less likely to cause you to become dependent on therapy because you're helping yourself, right? And that's very important in life. You need to build your own confidence. You don't want to be just whining and dependent. Is that where you want to be? Okay. But that's not healthy. I wouldn't say that's not spiritually healthy. Okay. When you're talking, when you're using, getting in touch with compassion and everything, that means you're flipping in your mind back and forth, um, from being the compassionate giver to the receiver of that compassion. And but when you're giving that compassion, it's in your mind. So you also, like the artist, feels or shares the story of your life and your experiences. Yeah, you feel the compassion you give. So it's already happening. But you flip back and forth between these as dominant roles by talking to people you care about or care about you, should have cared about you, and you should have cared about. Maybe you didn't. And so you talk back and forth like this. And that's how you do that dialogue. Now I'm training. Do you know that? Now, I think that's, you always email me at innermindcommunication@gmail.com for questions. Remain anonymous. Or you can call me. Yeah. This is my mission in life. This is something I'm old, and my time is coming. I have a number of issues, and I expect not to be around for a whole lot longer. I'd be amazed if I make 20 years. Yeah. I got to put the pedal to the metal and get and replace myself. Need to replace myself. Lots of people out. Okay, I need you. Go ahead. And I'm not your pastor, not, you're not sheep. And yeah, and some of call people father, whatever. Well, in a role like this, I guess you could call us grandmother. Um, it sounds very Native American, very, very down to earth, and yeah, that's you can kind of think of trainers like that, unless they're younger than you. But yeah, it's this is a role especially for elders who have time to the life experience to go with. So I would say that an organization would need to be led by, so that could be practitioners that are young. Certainly, we need them. But as far as running an organization, we need the elders to step up. Like I said, the churches should be about being extended families. That's their main job. Everything else is forget about it. It's just, they've turned. I'm thinking of the story of Jesus. He turned the temple into a bazaar. A business here. But what the Um, so that's not the point of this. Churches should be about being healing extended families. So church in the broad sense, temple, whatever. Um, but religion divides people. I think we're in a time of revolution, evolution, evolution, that emphasizes this and de-emphasizes religion. Religion tells you what to think. Mysticism says, see, follow me and see what you see. And make your own decisions. I like that. That's why they get along better. Even if they have a little tinge or flavoring of religion. They're going to get along a bit better. And they'll be really religious people. You've seen how they behave. Not good. Gaza comes to mind. That's not the whole picture. It's more complex than that. Yeah, there's a lot of that. And yeah, love everybody. Okay? People don't have to believe exactly what you do to be in the family. Right? It shouldn't be about brainwashing people or telling people to believe in things for which you have no evidence. But you can show people how to go within themselves, love themselves, so that they can love other people more efficiently and themselves more efficiently. That is the summation of what intermind communication is about. I heard one therapist said that don't expect me to love you. Hell. Intermind communication is about love. It's about helping a person feel comfortable and yet help them be nourished and growing and able to deal with their damaged faith and love. Which, remember, there are three levels. There's toxic, according to me, as one of the elders who are supporting this. Toxic, for traumas before you had words. And ACEs, traumas, damaged faith and love from your developmental years, which I would say goes through the age of 25. His brain's still growing. And after that, Yeah, but yeah, and then there's trauma that occurs when you're fully grown, and that's going to be less impacting. But understand that the intensity of a trauma can be really great at any of these levels, and you know, certainly go to war can be more damaging than a bad birth in some ways. But also, someone who goes to war is more apt to come back with PTSD if they have ACEs or, deeper toxicity from helplessness. What's the bad thing that the spirituality wars against? That's helplessness. Helplessness to love and to feel love. Mhm. Both of those. And to love and to feel love in helpful ways, of course. Objective, creative, passionate. But also, now let's go down into the infant mind. In the infant mind, you have the rudiments of creativity and objectivity and compassion. You have the things that were prominent in the development of these other things as you became a more social creature. Um, you're very social from the beginning. I'm not saying you're not, but in the language sense and then more communicative. Um, that those are focus, which helps with objectivity, play, which helps with creativity, and evolved into those. Power to create play, the power to focus. And all of these things in this process are related to feeling because feeling is about love. It's about love and healing damaged faith in it. And the ability to express is something that you have as an infant. Oh, do you have? Your parent that's been up all night when the kid with colic. Wow. Yeah. And that's important. Kids are they're priceless. Everybody is reading. Children, yeah. That's the beginning of a new future for us. Absolutely, they are the most important thing anywhere in the world is how the kids are doing. Period. You know, and the babies, mothers with baby in the womb, they should be well loved and taken care of all along the line. But expression, compassion is what enables a person to feel safer. It's the strongest. It's safe to express the feeling, to relive an event with full feeling. I like to talk about that with the stories, like little Susie's out playing, adorable little child. She falls down and skins her knee. Well, she didn't cry much or anything. She gets up, continues to play because play's important. But when she sees her mom, oh, then she holds her knee. Oh, mama. The compassion of the mother. It's her to feel that and to heal that little slight damaged faith, that the universe is kind Yeah, that, and the mom provides that compassion, and then she cries and so on, and then mom goes through with that child, the objective approach. She, loves her with a little objectivity. Oh, remember, honey, when you skinned the other knee, it's all better now. You think that knee's going to do the same thing? She's, mm-hmm. So, that's counseling, right? It's counseling. So then then he goes, oh, did you fall like this? And she makes a few, what do they call it, pratfalls? It's comedic falling. Did you fall like this? And maybe you felt like this. And, little girl starts to laugh. That's the action of the artist. And then she goes full artist, well, create a new experience. Let's go get some ice cream. Complete. You've done the whole IMC thing on the upper level, and yeah, problem solved. And Mama was actually training the kid. Preliminary stages, IMC. Yeah, so I mean, this is not something alien in any way. It's very natural, something that occurs naturally in different ways. If you comfort yourself with music, well, that's part of the practice. It's the artist in you tuning in the radio station where you want to hear the music that will suit how you're feeling at the time. You watch a movie that's working out. You want to see a broadened perspective on life and what's going on in the world. Turn on the news. There you go. And so, on the deeper level, how do you do these three things? Focus, expression, and play. How do you do that in relationship to how you're feeling? Um, well, practicing focus is a lot like mindfulness, but you're focusing on your feelings. How do you feel? What are you feeling? And you're not labeling it. Ugh. You're just feeling it. Feel what you're feeling in your body, your sensations, your emotional feelings. Just feel them. Um, focus on those feelings. Even if it's a pain somewhere, focus on it. Focus on how it changes. You And the thing is naturally the mind will want to move on. Uh, when you focus, then the mind wants to wander naturally, and that's okay. And to make sure that you're not focusing, but running through drama, language stuff in your mind while you're trying to focus early on your bodily sensations and feelings and so on. Hmm. How do you stop the monkey mind? A lot of Zen talks about it. You know, this is how you stop it. Um, the creative approach, a playful approach in a sense. Um, create um, sounds and either speak them or they have no meaning, nothing with meaning. Not a mantra you go over and over and over. That's far less effective. make up the sounds. And you can speak them with feeling. You can sing, you know. And remember, these are not focused on necessarily on negative things. It's focusing on whatever you're feeling. And the approach is to comfort. So, what about positive feelings? Don't ignore those. Focus on those too. Whatever is prominent, whatever's coming up, focus on that, how it is. So, let's suppose you make up some sounds. Oh, oh, I'm feeling something. There are no words. And that can be powerful. And then I can also sing. All right. Monkey Mind killed. Silenced. Subdued. And you're still, you're feeling them. And those are more on the negative side. But it can be positive. Positive. So you can do those things. Oh, I feel silly. Some people are so wrapped in their drum and what other people think about them. They can't do some of these things. My dad was a little like that. That's okay. Do it when you're alone, of course. You don't do any of these things, in public. You'd be either talking to yourself or uh, making some weird noises or just like a mindful robot. Anyway, uh, so expression. Well, how do you express those feelings? Really get them out. Well, that's important too, and you have to feel safe to do it. Have a sense of compassion there, but you have to be comfortable. You stay in your comfort range and you expand it. That's the whole way. But when you're doing this other approach, well, if you're going to express it, and again, sound might be a little important. So you express with feeling, but without any meaningful words. I like to use ah and ooh and you'll make yourself laugh. You can try the positive thing. Ah, ooh, yeah. Or you can go ah, ooh, ooh. That's what makes you feel better. Because the thing is that feeling negative things makes you feel better if it is within your comfort zone and you're expressing yourself honestly. So yeah, that the effects afterwards is one of the things about this is a lot. This is a lot like exercise in that that's something you love to have done, and you might feel good if you do the right amount. Uh, yeah, even though it's a little stressful, you feel better. It's something that you like to have done more than you like to begin or do. And so That's where a supportive group might be very helpful, encourage you to keep going. Um, I would say, you have to start from where you are. So religions need to start focusing more on their extended family groups, more on the real needs of the people, and on the impact of love. I don't believe you need a book to tell you to be good. I think that that's something that comes from the empathies, and that is something that you need to develop for your personal growth. That's your spiritual growth. So this is it's about healing, but it's about spiritual healing and spiritual growth. Little different than a disease model, where there's a distinctive disease in terms of an inability to do these things, which is one of the guardrails of this. People have a real problem doing it. Any professional help in another way, a disease model approach like psychology. But if they don't, to that degree, then they can help themselves and they can train it. But that doesn't mean you can't do both. I don't know how you would afford that. They're so costly nowadays. I was surprised that there was that mindfulness was very helpful. Not surprised that mindfulness was helpful with anxiety, but amazed that the drug was cheaper, and so people turned to the drug. I mean, really, it should be churches doing this, and it should do it for free. People should come in and donate, and make it all these things free for people, so they don't have to pay for this kind of spiritual training and such. It's all about donation. They can donate, kind of like Linux. Linux is a great thing. Um, it's it's donation based. Or you can sell it, and you could do that with this, sure. But the code is open. The training is open with this approach. And, you don't necessarily have to pay for it. And you don't have to, necessarily have to pay for Linux. As long as you contribute back in some way, like talking about how great Linux is, and the great creators on YouTube who help people to work with Linux. Yeah, there's a channel called Switch to Linux. Very impressed with that young guy. And he's great. He's got very high principles. And, you should check out his channel. Switched to Linux. Yeah. Well, there's some other good ones. There are a few that I really think highly of. Are very helpful. But I'm impressed with his spiritual approaches. Yeah. Yeah, he looks at everything from every angle. Yeah, that's the creative. That's his artist. Yeah. And for the neurologist or the brain researcher, that's the brain. Just objectively, it's the brain. At least it's partially the brain. And the NDEs and things like that. And with this practice, sometimes you might run into some things that are hard to explain, and maybe there's more than just the brain involved. I'm completely open to that, but I'd like to see clear evidence. Yeah, I do think there's evidence sufficient to say that there's something definitely going on that we don't understand. Um, and as to whether that's outside of the brain and its functions, I don't think we know enough about the brain to say that it is, but it might be. There's nothing wrong with feeling good. You once you have the experience of this, I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I remember, um, you know, you can actually feel fantastic just just teaching this or talking about it. You know, it can lift your spirits. Um, I wish we could all have health care. Wow, that's hopefully this aspect of caring for your health will go down the road that Linux has gone down. Be provided on a donation basis by extended family organizations. All right. So the chaplains out there, listen. This might be something you can do with your own perspective on it. Anyway, I'll try to wrap this up. Kind of gone all over the place, and Einstein said if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it very well yourself. Believe me, both those things are true in my case. So what I'm going to have to say here is what I say always, is that the marvelous wonder that's in me honors that in you. Namaste. And have a good day.